Can you use Omen's ultimate to escape Steel Garden? That's what I'll be showing you in this video, as well as other interactions, like if the door on Lotus breaks her wall, can you Jett updraft to escape Steel Garden, and even if Phoenix's ultimate is a counter to VYSE's. I discovered a lot of new things about VYSE while working on this video. Make sure to stick around until the end so you can learn them all. Firstly though, I wanted to see what happens if Jett dashes through Razorvine. There are actually two interactions I wanted to test here. One is if this Razorvine will slow down Jett's dash and make her travel a shorter distance, and also if all the damage from Razorvine would be applied at once, or if she would just dash through and take one tick of 6 damage. So first of all, I would just dash normally without the Razorvine in the way. So I'm looking at this lamp, dash straight ahead. You can see I land a little bit before those two dots on the ground, I guess. Sorting in that corner is a good way to look at it. So now if I get back in this corner though and have the Razorvine activated, it's activated, I'm basically on the edge of it, and now if I try and dash through, you can see, wow, so you do take a lot of damage at once. I took 42 damage there, so that's like what, 7 ticks all at once by dashing through it. But no, it does not seem to slow down the dash at all. I'm in the exact same spot. In fact, I almost think I'm further ahead. But yeah, Razorvine does not seem to slow down Jett's dash, but it does deal all the damage at once. Can Omen ult out of Steel Garden? Obviously, his ult you can teleport anywhere on the map, and Steel Garden does seem to have a very big wind-up time. So let's see if you react fast enough, can you actually teleport out? So I will get VYSE to ultimate me now. If I react quickly enough and teleport out, let's say to spawn, I can, then look, I can go all the way to spawn, dodge the effects, land back here, and now my gun is not jammed. So you can actually dodge Steel Garden using Omen's ultimate. While we're talking about Omen as well, I will quickly go over something with his teleport. A lot of people wanted to know if you could teleport past this, and I think it's pretty obvious, but yeah, you can teleport straight through this wall, completely unfazed. It is only when you actually make contact with this that it'll activate, like so. Does the dismissed Reyna activate VYSE's wall? So I guess how I will test this right now, I'll get VYSE to place down her wall like so, and then if I kill this VYSE, dismiss, and go through the wall, you can see I can dismiss through it and nothing happens. Now that was still active. I know it looked like it wasn't for a second because VYSE did die, so I'll try to delay it a little bit more just to get it. Oh my god, too many times, but you can see the wall's clearly active again. I go to dismiss and get through it, and yeah, Reyna can dismiss straight through this wall without activating it. In case you're wondering, that won't be the case if the wall is already active, of course. There's a solid wall and you cannot dismiss through it. So that was the wall, but what about VYSE's ultimate? Can you dodge that using dismiss? So I'll get the ult to send that now. If I get a kill and dismiss at the right time, can I dodge the ultimate? It does actually look like I can, so you can see that I timed the dismiss right, and I was not affected by Steel Garden. My gun did not get jammed. Now what about if my gun is already jammed and I try and dismiss? So you can see I get a kill, I dismiss, I come out, my primary is still jammed, so Reyna's dismiss is not going to clear the effect of having your gun jammed. Now let's try Yori's ultimate. Can this cleanse the effect of Steel Garden? As you can see, I will get hit by Steel Garden. My primary is now going to be jammed. If I try Yori ult, you can see the jammed effect is actually still going to be there, and even when I come out of the ultimate, the jammed effect is still there. So it even seems like Yori's ultimate will not be enough to get rid of this jammed effect. Can you place archers through the VYSE barrier? Now while you can't place it through the barrier itself, what you can do, which gets a similar effect, is actually place it in spots where it's going to see the enemy when it drops anyway. So for example, in B main on Ascent, what you can do is place it right here. You have to jump and sort of time it right when you place it. It's not easy, but you can see if I get it right up there as an example, you know, when this VYSE barrier drops, if I just come here, pretend I'm the flash, and what I can see, this entire B main area is going to get caught. So if you're standing here and then this flash goes off, you can see not only will this flash all of these enemies, it'll also give you info on them all the way up until this point. Even if they're down here, it'll still blind them and catch them. That's probably a decent flash you could do. And in case you're wondering, this is what that is going to look like from the attacker's perspective. So the wall comes down, you can see no indication that anything at all is being placed there. But then in fact, all the enemy VYSE has to do is press E, and that is going to full blind this entire area. Can Jett updraft over VYSE's wall? Now obviously this ability in general is meant to actually counter duelists, because once they go past it, they get blocked off from their team. But can Jett get over this with a well-timed updraft without activating it? So we'll see right here, I can updraft, and yeah, you can actually go straight over this wall. I would guess that that's going to be the like height barrier you have to get above. So if I go over like so, it's entirely possible to go over it. But if I'm floating a little bit too low, let's say maybe around here, yeah, if you're floating too low and go over the wall, it will still activate. So just make sure you're fully clearing that little line that appears before you updraft over. What about VYSE's ultimate though? Can you updraft out of that? So we'll try right here. Right before it hits, I'll updraft up into the air. And no, by the looks of it, in that case, you can see I obviously still got the jam effect on my gun, even though I updrafted. And I'll see if this works from different elevations as well. So let's say I'm getting ulted all the way up here. I'm really far away. I try updraft up here, even you can see I still have the jammed effect even though I was that much higher than the ground of where it initially was on. Now let's try it even if I updraft over here, way above here in the air. That's still not going to work. And if you were somehow able to get this high in-game and updraft out of VYSE's ultimate, would it work? No. Actually, I'm kind of curious now about how high this effect actually goes. And now let's say I'm this high up in game. Obviously we're past the realism at this point, but if you're this high up, the ultimate will still get you. So as you can tell by this point, there is no way to escape VYSE's ultimate by going up. It extends really far up in the sky, even though the effect might not quite look like it. So keep that in mind, you cannot outjump VYSE's ultimate. Does the door on Lotus break VYSE's shear? Now we know that the whole point of this wall is that it is indestructible. Like if I try and break this wall right here, no amount of bullets is going to get through that, right? The whole point is that it's indestructible and only goes away after 7 seconds. But can this actually be broken with the door on Lotus? So we'll see right here. What I will do is I will place this wall down first. Then we have VYSE to activate it like so. So she's now stuck in there with the wall. And if I open this door, you can see that the door does actually break down VYSE's shear on Lotus. Now I'm not sure if this was something you would actually see happen in your games. I don't know why I'd be putting your wall exactly there. But there you go, you can break the wall using the door on Lotus. So we know the door on Lotus breaks VYSE's wall, but what about the spike? Let's say you try and block it off using her wall. If an enemy ends up tripping it and the wall comes up, is that going to still work, or is the wall going to get broken by the spike? So let's see. I'll try to place that there like so. See if we can stop them from defusing. Then you can see if this wall comes up. Well, it actually doesn't come up. And I guess how this works is that because it's not put into sections, if any part of the wall needs to get destroyed for whatever reason, because things like the spike and the door, I guess, are unstoppable, the whole wall ends up getting broken instead. So be careful putting it near things like the door on Lotus and the spike in general. Does VYSE's wall break utility? Now, obviously, this is a few more razor vines that you can actually have, but just for the example and this case, let's see. So I'll place the wall down like so. Then when this wall gets activated, oh my god, that was really loud, but you can see, yeah, the wall is going to instantly break all that utility. So you want to be careful placing your razor vine or your flash too close to the wall. So with that in mind, you'll probably also want to be careful of your teammate's utility. Can you hear VYSE's utility being placed? So what I'll do is I will get VYSE to place all 3 parts of a main utility sort of along this line, and I will be standing all the way back in the start of V main and seeing if you can hear it. So the main idea here is just, you know, if the round's just started and VYSE is placing utility late, can you hear it? You can see that that was from 20 meters away and through a wall. So I'll try and place a razor vine on the ground first. You could hear that being placed. Then if she goes to put her wall up, let's listen. I might have to put the volume up in the recording for that one. I'll do one more time. Because you can hear it from this distance, but I want to say it's like right around the cutoff range, like around this sort of range, probably 30 meters is going to be the cutoff for hearing the wall. And then finally her flash as well. Okay, so that one is much clearer. You can pretty obviously hear her placing the flash there. So you can see I'm now just a little bit over 30 meters away from this VYSE. And if she tries to place the flash on the wall, I can still hear it from just over 30 meters away. Now I'll try 35 meters away, and I can't hear it. So it's around 30 meters is the range limit from where you can hear this flash being placed down. Does the damage from razor vines stack? Now the main use to this would be if you put 2 of them in the same spot, would it deal double damage to enemies? And to test this, I put a lot of them in one spot. That is way more than 2 there, but it'll get the point across to see whether they stack or not, because normally walking through 1 razor vine will deal roughly 54 damage to you. So if these stack, they would kill me. So I will activate them all now. Hopefully the lobby doesn't crash. Not too many, but pretty loud there. You can see that is definitely well more than 1 in a spot. Now if I walk through this like so, it is going to deal no more damage to me than usual. So obviously that was an extreme example, but if you put 2 razor vines in the same spot, their damage is not going to stack. Can you cancel VYSE's Steel Garden by eliminating her? There are some ultimates in this game where if you kill the person at the right time, the ultimate will just end up getting cancelled. So I wanted to see if that was going to be possible with VYSE. So I'll try and do this as soon as she activates it. Let's see here. So we'll activate the ultimate. Okay, that's not what I was trying to test, but her head moves a massive amount when she ults. So I guess that's a blooper, but there's some information for you. Now let's see, I'll try not to whiff this time. The head moves and it doesn't look like you can cancel it in any way. I tried to time it there, but it does seem like, you know, just as soon as she clicks it, this ability is active. And at that time, her ultimate voice line didn't even play. I killed her so quickly, but the effect still went off. And even if you kill VYSE, it doesn't matter. The effect is going to persist. There's nothing you can really do to cancel her ultimate. Does Phoenix's ultimate clear the jammed effect? Now I did test something similar yesterday, going over Clove's ultimate instead, but I feel like Phoenix's ultimate could work as a little bit more of an actual counter in response to the ultimate. So let's test this series. You can see right here, I will get VYSE to use ultimate, and then as soon as I get hit by this, you can see I now have the jammed effect. So let's say I use my ult, then if VYSE kills me, when I come back to life, I actually get rid of that effect faster than it would be gone in the first place. So that's probably a niche thing you could do. For example, if you ult right as this starts, and you can see like right when I get the jammed effect, then if I die now, I can clear that effect pretty quickly. So it's a bit more useful than that clove tip I showed yesterday, and I guess in a way, you can use Phoenix's ultimate to counter VYSE. Can you escape the Razor Vine without taking damage? Now you might have seen in my video yesterday that you can still sort of strafe while you're inside this, so I'll give you an example now. So even though this trap has now been activated under my feet, I'm definitely slowed, but I can still strafe a little bit without taking damage. So some people are asking, what if you just keep on spamming W and take tiny steps at a time? Is it actually going to be possible to get out of this Razor Vine? So I'll activate another one here, and you can see I'll just try and take tiny steps and escape out of it. And no, I do eventually take damage. I do want to say I'm taking less than I usually would, to be honest. Actually, no, I still got ticked 4 times in the end. And obviously that is going to be much slower than trying to walk out of it normally. So no, even if you take tiny steps, the Razor Vine will eventually damage you. Can you shift walk through VYSE's wall? A lot of people seem to be a little bit confused about how this ability actually works. Maybe they're getting a little bit confused with deadlock sensors since they released recently. But a lot of people were asking, can you shift walk through this ability? And no, this ability has nothing to do with sound whatsoever. It doesn't matter how quietly or how loudly you go through this. If you pass that line down there whatsoever, this wall will come up. And yeah, you cannot shift walk past it. Can the Razor Vine cover multiple surfaces? Now when I say that, I wanted to see if it would spread both upwards and downwards when you activate it. So I'll test this spot as an example first. And see if it lands there. It will spread downwards pretty far. But then up here, the vines have no effect. But for example, where that could be useful is if you place this ability on top of dice, the entire surrounding area around it will then be affected, not only on top of dice itself, which is a bit less useful, but you can get the entirety surrounding that area. And this is even going to work from much higher places. Things like Jen, maybe if you have an attacking lineup and you get it to land up there, you can see when you activate that, it's probably a little bit too close to center there, but you get the idea where this can spread really far downwards and cover a massive area in general. So I think a really useful spot to find a lineup for when attacking A site. But if you can get a lineup to land really right around there, what this will do is cover both this area. For anyone who wants to be peeking out heaven, that'll be pretty strong. And it'll also hopefully help you fight anyone who's stuck down here, holding the site from generator. So that was another load of interactions I tested with VYSE. Hopefully you learned something from this video, or at least found it useful. And don't forget, she'll be releasing to live servers on either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on your time zone.